Have you ever felt empathy from a William and Mary professor?
Yes. Specifically, my sociology professors are very understanding about mental health stuff and deadlines and stuff. They are very understanding about giving extensions or people getting COVID and stuff. They always have Zoom rooms open this year, even though everything's in person. My bigger lecture classes, the professors haven't really said much about extenuating circumstances and stuff, but I'm sure that they would still be nice if people had something going on.
Hi, everyone. Today we're going to be talking about empathy. We have a very special guest here with us. My name is Sam Vido, and I am one of the student partners here at STLI. And please, Pablo, introduce yourself.
Hi, my name is Pablo Yanez. I'm a program manager for the Studio for Teaching and Learning and Innovation. In talking to faculty members, they often, especially in larger classes, will have a tough time connecting with their students. And I think that connection can actually have a significant impact in students' learning objectives and meeting their learning objectives and getting the most out of education that they can.
How do you try to kind of focus in on that empathetic side of teaching, especially for those teachers with the larger classes? How do you kind of make the students feel connected to that empathy?
I think that one of the keys, I think that the faculty here at William & Mary are very empathic. I always am hearing from faculty members who are trying to connect with their students. So I think that they understand the importance of empathy. I think that one of the key factors that they have to work with is you have to create spaces or moments for those connections to be made. So I think that when you're teaching in a large classroom, you can signal to your students that you're there for them. But you also have to create spaces where that interaction can take. I think that some of that sort of empathic interactions that you can set up are not necessarily going to happen in a classroom with 150 students. So is that a space after the class meets? Is it maybe a space before that? Does it happen during your office hours? So you have to create those additional spaces where these interactions can take place.
Creating opportunities for the students to kind of look for it themselves, and the fact that it's a self-starting kind of thing.
Exactly.
Especially with the larger classes, because one-on-one attention in that is very hard to do.
I think that sort of signaling and those relationships are much easier to develop if you're sitting around the conference table with 15 students or 10 students. It's much harder if you've got a tiered lecture hall with 180 students, right? And
Absolutely.
You've got people who are sitting 50 yards away from you. It's hard for the students to feel like you as an instructor are there for them. So I think that you have to generate these spaces outside of sort of the traditional meeting times. It doesn't mean that it can't happen during a normal class period. Even in a large classroom, if you're having them do share pair, you're walking around the room, mingling with them, talking to them, you can make those empathic connections with your students. The other thing that I would say is that this is something that you want to signal is an option in your syllabus, right?
Okay.
So you want to make it very clear that you can come and talk to them about how you're struggling, what your issues might be with a particular class.
Setting like certain times and opportunities for students to meet with you outside of the normal class meeting time.
Yeah. So I think it's the time has to be there, the spaces have to be there, but you also have to let them signal that they should take advantage of this. A few years ago, we had one of our faculty members, Arthur Knight, who talked about a little experiment that he did with his office hours. And he actually wanted to break down these barriers, not only for empathy, but also to have more significantly interesting academic discussions with his students, because he felt like his office hours just weren't being used very well.
Wow.
And so he actually added a very small incentive for students to come to his office hours and talk to him, right? So it was basically, you didn't have to do much, but you had to come and talk to Arthur in his office hours if you wanted a particular grade. I can't remember what his incentive structure was, but it was just
that's smart. It fosters conversation.
Right. And he felt like not only did he get to know his students much better, but the level of what happened in the rest of the class was impacted because these connections had been made outside of the classroom.
Well, Pablo, it was great talking to you. Thank you so much for agreeing to take time out of your busy schedule and talking to us today. We really appreciate it.
Thanks, Sam. It was great being here.